Hello, everybody, and welcome to another AI Corner. I am Nic Novak, here to talk about a few more things that happened in the world of AI this week. So let's just get right into it. We did have an announcement from OpenAI. This was a little bit over a week ago, but just wanted to briefly mention here, after that whole fiasco with Sam Altman being fired and removed from the board of OpenAI, he has been kind of reinstated onto the board, and new board members listed here have been appointed. And so this is just a big announcement from OpenAI, kind of probably bringing some closure to that whole thing that happened there. So 3 more people plus Sam rejoining the board, and like bringing that into a more stable configuration. We have from Google the announcement of the Tensor G4 chip, and this is a little bit of a trend we might be seeing: more powerful chipsets that are optimized for tensor math, the kind of computations that are needed to run large language models. And this is going to be something that is going to be made available in the future, I imagine, on the device. So on smartphones, Apple has been putting more and more powerful chips into their devices. Google also doing this to enhance their Pixel and other devices. Probably, I think, the conclusion from this kind of thing is that what we will see increasingly more mobile devices, phones, small devices being able to run local LLMs right on the device, essentially creating an edge computing capabilities for AI, generative AI, and opening up the possibility of all types of applications that can be possible on devices. We did have the announcement from Elon Musk here that Grok will be open sourced. I think as of the time of this recording, it may still have not happened, and so there are some discussions on on X, on Twitter, if that is going to be happening. But if it did happen, it will be increasing the kind of open source portfolio of these LLMs, kind of in open source competition with things like Claude from Anthropic or ChatGPT. We also have a few things in the world of robotics. So from Covariant here, unveiling RFM1. And this is a platform that I kind of think of it as, like GPT or like an LLM, but specifically geared towards a platform for robotics. So for enabling robots to perform tasks in the real world and potentially also interacting with humans as well. And there are this is kind of coming with a lot of other announcements. I'm going to be sharing one in the world of robotics where the capabilities of robots seem to be advancing pretty rapidly, especially as new ways of getting LLMs into the platform are made more and more efficient. So this is something that could really accelerate the development of robotics that is able to do meaningful things in the real world, interact with humans. Another kind of robot announcement, although different type of robot, we did have an announcement from local governments in South Korea deploying thousands of these AI robot dolls for seniors. And I believe it is called Hayu doll. And this is really a kind of announced as a mental health play. There was some study about how providing these dolls, and here's a picture of the doll, for seniors can help with depression. These things are equipped with sensors, cameras, they record, they have an LLM. They can remind you to take your medication, and some study about how they found depression levels could decrease. I think also the deployment of thousands of these things also, this could go into a lot of directions because, of course, with the ability to update the software, you have the sensor, you have the LLM. It's essentially kind of a generalized piece of hardware that really could do anything. So this could rapidly change the landscape of what's possible inside people's homes, getting these things deployed into homes where previously there was, might be no adoption of things like LLM technology. Interesting announcement there. We had the announcement from Together AI securing over $100 million in a funding round led by Salesforce Ventures. Now their product line, which they're going to be continuing to push out here, it's kind of like an infrastructure platform for inference, fine-tuning custom models, GPU clusters, allowing you to essentially build and run products using generative AI. Really just adding more fuel onto all of the development that we are seeing happening here. We had an announcement from DeepMind, the introduction of SEMA. And this is an interesting model that can understand and execute tasks in 3D virtual worlds. So it was trained on video games and can kind of learns to generalize performing actions across those games inside the virtual world. But I think this is interesting for a few reasons. Of course, you have the video game industry, but like kind of what we saw with Sora and other image-based generative AI systems that, you know, a lot of these systems were trained using synthetic data. You have something like Sora, I believe OpenAI published, they use synthetic data from the Unity graphics engine to help create training data that would then teach the model Sora how to understand physics essentially and generate videos that are physically realistic. So not with what we're seeing here with the robots, I think it's not inconceivable that systems like this could actually be used to create the kind of training data for these AI robotics platforms. And you kind of create the virtual training ground. AI learns how to do things in the virtual world, but then that could generalize into the real world when you consider things like robotics. So that is has all sorts of interesting interactions. We had an autonomous vehicle startup, Applied Intuition, securing $250 million. This was a Series E with quite a high valuation there, $6 billion, to drive autonomous vehicles. And growing there, even though we are seeing funding pull back in this area. This was the same announcement here from ChatGPT getting a body, OpenAI partnering with Figure. Yeah, pretty impressive announcement here. This is a combination of a new piece of robotic hardware from Figure, combined with a ChatGPT-based system, is able to interact with people and perform actions in the real world, picking up objects, understand your body language of the people that are interacting with the robot. It has dexterous hands. It can take actions. They're kind of demonstrating it here as if it could one day help do your dishes, fold your laundry, and things like that. And the voice, as this bullet point says from the video, is really slick as well. It really does sound like it is a human talking when you interact with it. We saw legislation from the European Parliament here, kind of following similar to the what came out of the White House several months ago, a new EU AI Act that is going to be imposing potentially more regulations on AI systems. The first step here, which I think was similar to the approach in the United States, was to try to categorize the risk level of these different AI systems. And then you have low on the one hand, which would be less regulated, and then the unacceptable risk category could put certain systems into a risk category where they could be banned outright. And this is going to be taking into effect in May, very, very soon. And on the research side, one interesting thing to highlight here, this was from the National Cancer Institute, I believe, NCI. Researchers developing a new transformer architecture-based AI tool that is trained on pathology reports of cancer and is able to predict in real time incidences of new types of cancer. It's an interesting problem that these reports are actually processed by hand, which means that if you have in a population a certain type of cancer, on the skin, maybe in a certain area, it can actually take about 2 years before all of those reports get processed, and then that cancer is kind of recognized in the scientific community as a concern. Technology like this, it can just do it, in real time. So potentially huge possibilities being being open for making the speed and accuracy of cancer reporting a lot like better. Imagine, you know, that some environmental factor happens, and then systems like this could detect an increase in cancer happening almost immediately after that, which could be really, really impactful for diagnosis and treatment as well. And that is all that I had this week for the AI Corner. I will see you all again soon.